Howdy y'all, I am Ice Gold, and today I'm going to be showing y'all the new best gear setup for the Balance School at level 180. This will also be accurate going into Amara and 190, so if you're watching this video during that time frame, then, you know, you're in luck. This video might be a little bit older, but it will still be up to date because of how gear templates work, and I will explain that once I get into the gear. And speaking of doing that, let's get into the gear. So, first and foremost, you have the Doomed Abomination Crown for the hat. This is best in slot for level 180, and it is a part of the Darkmoor World template, in the sense that it's the set of gear that drops from like the final bosses of Darkmoor. And in the hat's case, as well as the boots and the wand, these all drop from Wallaru, the final boss of the world. Whatever that is for Amara and 190, we'll figure that out, I'm sure. But the point is the same. This is exactly what you want to be running. The template of gear that does not have any shadow rating is definitely best in slot. So there you go. End of world hat. Not really much else to say about it. It's just this is definitely by far the best. You get that 30% balance blade item card on deck. So pretty neat right there. And then for the robe, it is not actually the Nullity robe, but it is the most recently released robe on its template. If I can just mouse over it, the Peaceful Hanami Kachu for level 180 plus. That drops from the Blighted Veil raid. So it's got about 3 damage on this, but, you know, not really much else that's notable. I straight up don't think it gives much else than that. I think maybe 2 more resist. So you get the picture. The Peaceful Hanami Kachu for level 180 will also have a version available at level 190. The second Amara drops in Live Realm this November. So if you get the 180 version of the Peaceful Hanami Kachu, then you can immediately go back to your guild house and upgrade it to level 190 as soon as the world drops. So there you go. The boots, like I gave like a sneak preview of earlier, are the Doomed Abomination Stompers, which are also part of the End of World set, or I guess End of Story set. So, of course, this is Darkmoor's set, so Abomination shoes, this drops from Wallaru as well. Like I said about the robe, the robes are going to be raid robes for the foreseeable future. That's just where the templates come from, and Blighted Veil will drop the Hanami Kachu that I've been talking about. And so boots are largely the same story, you know? This is a very, very strong item. You've got 43 balance damage, which is pretty ridiculous, and this is definitely best in slot. This is plus 3 damage, by the way, from the Dream Reaver set from 170, so definitely keep that in mind. The Abomination Crown as well gains 2 damage on the Reaver hat, so something to keep in mind. The upgrades are relatively minuscule. If you do have like the Reaver set you don't want to upgrade, that's cool. You're not missing out on too much, but 3% damage, you know, maybe it adds up a little bit. The wand is the Doomed Abomination Glaive, which I apparently have a couple of. But the Doomed Abomination Glaive gives, what is that, 22 total damage, something like that, and 11 pierce, which is very strong. I mean, what I'm mousing over right now is the Xibalba Vacuum Sword from the Crying Sky raid, which is like equivalent to the Reaver wand, except, you know, it gives pip conversions at shadow rating, which is exactly what the Abomination wand gives. This is kind of the difference between the EOS end of story set on the left and the raid sets on the right. The 180 equivalent of this would be the Crime Fighter staves, I think, from Gaslit Conspiracy. So there you go. But as you can tell, the Doomed Abomination Glaive gets 2 extra damage and 3 extra pierce, which is pretty strong. And of course, you know, pick your poison between the pip conversion rating and the extra shadow pip rating. depending on whether you want the Abomination End of Story wand or if you want the Raid wand. I've always been a Raid wand enjoyer myself personally, but haven't really been a Ghastly Conspiracy Raid enjoyer, so that's why I'm running with the EOS wand. So for the Athame, I actually have the Outsider relics to craft this thing, but my membership ran out about 24 hours before I thought it would, so that's really sick. Where... Outsider relics. Actually, not on this character, but, you know, pool my resources, and I will have the 70 Outsider relics. But this does not really have as big of an upgrade when you think about the Doomed Abomination of Fame. You only get 1 extra damage, so there you go. And if you're watching this in July of 2026 or later, the Barkingham Chronicle update will bring with it a new gear set that it's a direct upgrade to this August Sage Knife, which means it will give the same damage as the Doomed Abomination of Fame, being 15, but with a triangle socket instead of a square. So pick your poison there as well. You'll also get a little bit of extra pip chance, so, you know, just in case you wanted that, but it will only give 15 universal and 10 balance once that releases, so if you don't have the Abomination of Fame, no sweat. It also drops from the Greyman Golems, which is one of the most ridiculous fights in the game. If your teammates are throwing, like mine were when I was running this on the storyline quest on my balance. For the amulet, this piece really does not matter all that much, I'm going to say it. As long as it has a circle and a triangle slot, you are by and large fine. And the reason being is because you can socket either a bunch of damage or a bunch of pierce in the circle slot, and that will definitely buff up your stats a bunch. And the triangle is there for some accuracy, which, you know, combine all of your like hat, robe, boots, and wand, and add an extra 16% accuracy, and there you go. You will have perfect accuracy, won't fizzle mantles most of the time either, so pretty nice there. But again, all that matters with the amulet is that you have a circle triangle. I don't even have the Abomination amulet because I'd rather shoot myself than wait and team up for like 12 hours for the Hierophant of Destruction. The ring is up next, and this is another piece that, you know, I just don't have. I have all of the other rings that drop from Sister Sanderson in Darkmoor on all of 6 of my other characters, but I just never could get the balance one for some reason. I've run that boss maybe like 70 times between my Ice and my Storm, got multiple copies of the other 6, never got the balance one. But it's not like I'm missing out on too much because it only gives 1 extra damage, so, you know, it's the EOS ring. What more can I say? For the pet, this largely depends on if you want to go full damage, but I personally do, so, you know, this is a quintuple damage with Mighty / Thinking Cap, manifested, not socketed, because good luck getting that on a jewel. So have fun with that. But on a Snappy Griffin, this is my personal favorite pet body for the school. You get an extra blade, you get an extra feint, which is pretty nuts, and then Lernian Hydra is really, really good if you are in the earlier worlds. So pretty neat there. For the mount, as you can see, my backpack is 8 over the limit because I don't have membership, but the Battle Narwhal is the choice here. It is the only mount that gives damage that you can get for free, as this is a free-to-play setup, and you can fish up the Battle Narwhal from the Polarian Shipwreck Bundle House, I think it's called. It is going to sap your will to play this game to do that. It's going to take a very long time to get, but it's worth because you get 2 extra damage from it that you wouldn't have had before. So that's my rationale on the mount. And then for the deck, this is another one that, you know, it's again kind of like a pick your poison kind of thing. The whole idea with you know, just having a circle slot deck, that's what you want. I personally like the Dream Reaper deck because it gives a Dragonlance, which up till 2023 was only a card that your pet could make cast on you. So, you know, pretty sick that now we get to cast this. It is a pretty useful card, 2 pips for 35 blade and a 10% spear. These are pips that you would have anyway, realistically speaking, if you're packing this, but yeah, I like the Dream Reaver deck on a balance for that exact reason. Most of the others I probably won't say have a definitive best in slot, but I personally do like the Reaver decks quite a bit because of that. All of the Abomination decks are going to give this Attenuate item card, which is okay, you know, but I think personally I'd rather have this Dragonlance that I get on my balance. So this is also another piece of gear that will have an alternative be released in July with the Barkingham update, going to be just a direct upgrade to these August Sage decks. So, you know, as long as you can get yourself a circle slot, you are chilling. And that is it for the setup. So, okay, let me calc it out a little bit. I am missing 3 damage here, 1 damage here, 1 damage here, 2 damage here. So that's 7. So, looking at the stats, this also depends entirely on what kind of jewel sockets you want to do. I personally have 51 Pierce. I don't think I need that much. I would totally socket some extra damage on my Athame or Ring if I had those, but, you know, farming is just not something I like to do. So, plus 7 here is going to be 243, give or take like minus 12 Pierce would still have you at 39, which is pretty solid, but then you change those to plus 10 damage and you go from 243 to 263. So that is pretty solid. I mean, straight up, switch around the number in the 1's place and the 10's place here, and you have the damage value that you would get if you if I actually had the ideal setup. So there you go. It balances out Pierce and damage quite nicely. Most things in this game are not going to have 40 plus resist, except for, like, I don't know, end of world bosses, but as a balance, you're probably not hitting for those anyway. So, you know, 263 damage, a calm little 39 Pierce. Yeah, 39 Pierce, because you actually don't gain any Pierce with the Hanami Kachu, so that's pretty neat. And then some decent pip conversion. Of course, this depends on whether you want the EOS wand or the raid wand. Same thing with the Shadow Pip rating, and over on pips, which is never a bad thing. But yeah, that'll wrap up. So 263 and 39 if I wasn't lazy and if I had membership. So with that being said, that is going to wrap this one up. So hope y'all enjoyed. Thank y'all for watching. I've been Ice Gold. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave like 50 comments for the algorithm. My Discord is down in the description if you want to chat with me some more, and I will see y'all later.